Hey everybody, it's Brox here, and you're never going to believe it, but we're doing one final update before the patch goes live tomorrow, and the new Season 2 starts. The update here is going to be a really quick one, I promise. This one, we made some very minor tweaks from the update from yesterday that changed kind of the perception of what we're aiming for. In the last video, we talked about hunting for more movement speed and releasing ourselves from animation, locking ourselves into basic skill casts. This time, we're looking for damage, right? So we're hunting for how can we maximize damage. And we're going to do that in twofold in this adjustment. One, we're going to drop Domination, and we're going to add in Blood Boil, which is going to, the bigger thing and the most important thing it's going to do is every 20 seconds, your next skill is guaranteed to overpower. This just means every single 20 seconds that we're going through a map, a map could be anywhere from 1 minute and 30 seconds long to 3 minutes long. In there, you're going to get a bunch of overpower boulders that you're going to have whirling around you. You couple that with Obsidian Slam, we now have 2 resources to guarantee us overpowers on our boulders, which changed the perception of where we can allocate and obtain damage from. And with the changes to overpower, as long as the glyph hasn't changed, it makes Dominate a really, really strong and powerful glyph. So this gives, again, without adjustments, so if Blizzard hasn't made any adjustments to this glyph, it will provide plus 40% increased overpower damage. Now, as you know, with the changes to overpower now comes with a times 50% multiplier. So this is a massive amount of additive damage that's unparalleled when it comes to glyphs. I'm sure this will eventually be nerfed with the changes if they haven't nerfed it already going into the patch, but without the patch being live and knowing if this has been adjusted, I can only go off what I have on the calculators. And looking at the calculator, having plus 40% overpowers with 2 guaranteed ways to generate overpower boulders, we're hunting for what we're calling the Giga Boulder. And the Giga Boulder is basically a boulder that has every applicable applied multiplier to it crits on an overpower. So you have an overpower crit, and then you have every legendary node proc multiplier that goes along with it. So poisoned enemies from our creepers, 75 spirits. This would hopefully be our 3rd or beyond boulder. So after we've spent the 75 spirit on our first 2 boulders, then the 3rd boulder, if it procced overpower and crit, then we could apply also the times 30% multiplier here. The Werebear times 50% multiplier, and then the Earth and Devastation at times 40% multiplier. And if we have all of those combined, you'll get one giant snapshotted Giga Boulder that's going to do an obscene amount of damage because we put Dominate into our int high board, so the highest int board we have, which is 49, and we're going to grab all but one of the nodes that's off to the side, so we're going to miss out on 40% additional, but we're going to grab everything else to make this, if I do some quick math, what is that? That's 320% additive damage. And then, of course, when you overpower an enemy, they're also going to take another 12% multiplicative for 5 seconds from all sources. So that's all our other boulders, including the Giga Boulder. So we've made some slight adjustments to kind of tune for that. Another adjustment that I put in the comments of the last video that we made is we dropped the Shapeshifter glyph early on, and we replaced it with Exploit, so the Exploit can provide us vulnerability reliably. And this way we do not have to use Metamorphosis on cooldown as an offensive technique. We can use it as a defensive, but that defensive still comes with the capability to vuln enemies if we needed to, proc Unstoppable, give us more spirit back. It can still do all the things that's here to do. It's just not a force-fed way that we would use to generate vulnerability. So a lot of other classes are going to be using their evades offensively. Having Exploit means that we do not have to do that in this build. We can still use it defensively, but we can still get all the other benefits from it. So that's another change we made. Another minor change that we made is after making all these adjustments, and now that we have the exploit glyph, we do not need the vulnerability from Hurricane because it's such a low rate to proc. We already have exploit that's going to be generating that vuln for us, so we are going to hard swap over to Savage Hurricane for the 20% damage mitigation from anything that gets hit by our Hurricane. This is a massive amount of DR from the opposite end, so from the attacking damage monster. That helps us out. So this is a huge win across the board for both softcore and hardcore because we don't have to fish for vulnerability after our evade is off, or after we've done our initial evade, because exploit's going to be able to apply that more reliably. So those are some really quick adjustments that we've made to the build in this more final form. I'll put the new calculator down in the bottom so that you guys can have this updated version. If you have any questions, again, Woody's Discord in the Druid channel is where you can find me. You can ping me. You'll see that we're constantly having discussions and still making some slight iterations on the build, just trying to hunt now for that optimized maximum damage output. So here it is. Again, I don't know if I'll have another update out by the time season goes live, but these are the changes that we've made. Enjoy season 2.